Say hi to Stevie 1989 as we come into Arena with our new deck. 138 cards still for them to go. Welcome to Tpull's Corner. This is Travis. It is June, and that means it's Evergreen month. What does Evergreen means? Evergreen means that we take one deck and we build it around one particular mechanic. We won't necessarily have excluded other mechanics, like Illuminator Virtuoso has double strike, but that's not the point of this particular deck. No, our mechanic's going to be something different this time around. I think we're just going to hold our ammo for now. Well, we chose Indestructible as our mechanic of choice for this deck. One of the big weaknesses of Indestructible is exile, so of course, what does Arena do? Arena specifically finds my Kryptonite, exiling cards. Come on through. That's kind of what we wanted. Right there. The problem is, I don't have enough mana to do what I wanted. I don't think I can wait another turn. I think they've all got to go. Because I'm losing 2 life on that anyway. Opponent missed their land drop, but they magically had exactly what they needed to go look for one, so that they hit their land drop. Thank you for helping them out, Arena. With more than 100 cards. Oh, you had 2 of them. Sweet. Must be nice. And we miss our land drop. Of course we do. Opponent's not going to miss their land drop now. This is why I hate Arena right now. Let's just get rid of you, please. There we are. Alright, better late than never. We're going to go over some of what they've talked about with their matchmaking stuff. There's been a little bit of controversy. I'm not sure I'm satisfied with the explanation they've given. As a matter of fact, I know I'm not satisfied. But we'll see what happens. only need 7 or 8 lands to make this work. Opponent manages to resurrect their legendary creature. And they can get past my Sunscribe with no problem. Oh, they're taking a long time just to do an attack. Why is it they slow down when I get near death? Come on. All right. Everybody dies. Okay, 3, 4, 6, 7. We'll just put down the Silex. And who knows what's going on with our opponent's deck now? Well, let me talk about Indestructible. It says effects that say destroy, don't destroy a permanent with Indestructible, and if it's a creature, it can't be destroyed by damage. So Wizards has changed the way they use this mechanic over the years. They used to just stick it on creatures, and they have sort of decided that Indestructible is a very problematic mechanic. It's a very powerful mechanic. It and Hexproof have provided them problems, so they've been exploring over the past couple of years different ways as to use the mechanics. And so we have to make do with what they've designed. And a lot of what they designed are these cards that are instanced by white that they gain Indestructible just until end of turn. Or maybe a creature that has to discard a card to get Indestructible until end of turn, that kind of thing. So it's not, a lot of them are not permanently indestructible anymore. They made it a very temporary mechanic. But there's an old tactic that some of us old Magic people like to do. And so I made a deck around it, because it's been at least 6 months, probably closer to a year since I did something like it. We made creatures in this deck, and once I get them down, we have ways to make them indestructible. Well, we can do a board wipe with everybody else. We'll see if we get to demonstrate it. I don't know if we will because of the way Arena does its matchmaking for one-on-one battles. And we'll read a little bit of that. I'll pull that up after I go over the deck. But this is what we do for the month of June, is we pick a mechanic. We've already done the Blue Vigil, where we made a deck mono blue out of Vigilance creatures. And we did First Strike last time. So Indestructible is our third mechanic. If you're relatively new to the game, it's a very fun month because you get to watch a specific deck each time I put one out for this month, where it just really overwhelmingly focuses on one mechanic. So you learn the ins and outs of it. And even if you've been around for a while, this particular type of deck where you do an indestructible board wipe is not very common in the current environment. So it's possible, even if you've been playing for a few months, you haven't encountered it yet. It used to be a lot easier to pull off, I think. Now I think it's a little bit more mana intensive with where they're sticking the destroy effects and stuff like that, where they're sticking the indestructible spells. Wow, not a source of blue anywhere in sight. They've got me down to 5 life points. A full 7 cards in their hand, and they're not doing anything, but they're taking a really long time to decide not to do anything. We're going to pass, because yet again we miss our land drop. and we wait. Opponent has to do something or they've got to discard. It's very strange to see 6 lands and a full hand and them not able to do a single thing. But I'm almost in the same place because I need a creature. And I do have some creatures in the deck, but they're just not showing up on that first one. Well, sorry, we had to. Maybe I should have held on to Attentive Sunscribe for later. Oh, that was easy. I've joked before about how I don't ever actually have to do anything. I just have to sit here and make a deck that they find inconvenient and they scoop. So they pounded on me for as long as they could, and then they decided it was no fun. They're taking their toys and going home. So we win. Very interesting. Not the way I expected to win with this deck, but let me go ahead and show you all the cards. The name of the deck is We're Indestructible. And it's 2.8 mana average. It's 24 lands. And we don't have a lot of creatures. We only have 9 creatures. But here's what we got. Armored Armadillo. 0/4, mostly to be used as a blocker, but it gets +X until end of turn where X is its toughness. So I can turn it into a 4/4. Final Showdown is a spree card. I could, if I have enough mana, I can destroy all creatures, but choose one creature I control, and it gains Indestructible until end of turn. So that's going to cost 7 mana total. I've got 3 Lorn's Escape, so target creature gains Hexproof and Indestructible until end of turn. I get to scry 1. Novice Inspector, very cheap creature to get down to the very beginning. Requisition Rate, just to destroy target artifacts and enchantments, because of course White does things like they put out the exile enchantments, and I want to get my creatures back. Attentive Sunscribe, whenever it becomes tapped, to get to scry 1, so that's handy if I ever manage to... I may go ahead and send this on a suicide run, just tap it to attack, just for the scry value. Illuminator Virtuoso has double strike whenever it becomes the target of a spell you control. It connives, so that's where we draw a card and then discard a non-land card to put a +1/+1 counter on it. And this is the main workhorse of the deck. Sanctify, just more artifact and enchantment removal, because there are some artifacts that are kind of overpowered. They're very cheap, right? They cost 3. Things like the Forge from red, or the new one from blue that just makes new artifact tokens every single turn you put out an artifact. I think those are overpowered cards. So you sort of have to take them into account because everybody and their dog wants to use them because they're overpowered. Valor Stance, 4 copies of them. We could use them to destroy target creature with toughness 4 or greater, or give us the option of Indestructible, so there's a little bit of flexibility there. We could use them for creature removal or to satisfy our own saving our creature during a board wipe. 4 copies of White Sun's Twilight. If X is 5 or more, we get to destroy all other creatures, so again, we'd need 7 lands to do the board wipe. Otherwise, we're just gaining life and creating Phyrexian Mites. 1 Urza's Silex. Each player chooses 6 lands they control. All other permanents get destroyed. Metropolis Reformer is another creature. Flying Vigilance, and you have Hexproof. Whenever Reformer is dealt damage, you gain that much life. Like Valorous Stance, 4 Moments of Valor. You can untap target creature, gains +1 and Indestructible until end of the turn. Or you can also destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. So if they're using tough creatures, we've got enough removal in the deck. For Swarms, Depopulate, destroys everything. And 2 copies of Vanquish the Horde, again, mostly intended for Swarms. And 4 copies of Exile the Interlopers. So we've got 7 board wipes right there. And the rest we're counting on having things out like the Phyrexian Vindicator and making it indestructible so it stays alive. And finally, Unstable Glyph Bridge. If you cast it, for each player, choose a creature with power 2 or less that player controls, then destroy all creatures except creatures chosen this way. And we can craft it by exiling an artifact later and turn it into the Sandstorm Wanderglyph, which is kind of cool. 2 Fields of Ruin. This is mostly to take out Merrick's lands and stuff like that. And we do have a couple of Aganjos, 4 Hidden Courtyards to discover, and 4 Fair Basilicas for card draw. And it's a very simple theme, very straightforward. We want to get one of our creatures out, and when the time is right and things look bad, we're going to board wipe and make our one creature indestructible. And we're going to rinse and repeat for as long as we can. And the only drawback is there's a relatively small number of creatures that we have. So we're encouraging our opponent to load up the battlefield and come after us. So most of our battles are going to look like the first one. The enemy's going to be able to get some hits in. And they get the bat. What will they take? I don't know if they're being sarcastic with their hello at that particular moment or if they're trying to be friendly. Okay. They take Expel. I'm going to throw down the Virtuoso. Let's see. All creatures lose all abilities, or I can make myself indestructible. I think we just pass. And we see if they attack with the Sunslayer or not. Tiny Bones. They do. Interesting. I wonder if they have counterspells. Okay, so we're going to play the spree part of this. We're going to say our creature just gains indestructible until end turn. I thought I'd get to target it, but I guess not. I was hoping I could plus it up. Nice, he says. Let's do the Silex. Virtuoso just became a chump blocker. Don't have any permanents in my graveyard yet. Notice opponent has not missed a land drop yet. Hangs back Tiny Bones because Virtuoso has double strike. Now there are very few cards that can stop the Silex. Maybe they have a bounce spell? What do you got? They save Glissa and not the bat. Interesting choice. They know that gives me back Expel the Interlopers. There comes another bat. Of course. Of course there comes another bat. They'll probably take the Reformer then, right? And notice they have one of the special lands and I don't have a Field of Runes just yet. But our Moment of Valor is actually pretty good against that. I guess we put out the Plains because they know that we have it. This Deep Cavern Bat is a pretty interesting kind of card. It seems more insidious than a simple discard spell. I can't do that on my turn, but I can draw a card on my turn. We do have a little bit of breathing room. Opponent does not miss their land drop. Not sure why they would do that when they know I have this card. Yeah, see? Kind of weird. Okay, I'm getting all of my support cards. And it could be that I've got the mix wrong on this. Ooh, we can put that down. We can put it down. We're good to go. The worm just turned. The opponent does not miss a land drop. Sludge monster. Okay. How about we do this now? Let's get rid of the hidden courtyard. I don't need to pump him up right now. Now I'm getting all the lands? Come on. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to do this. I'm going to get rid of Moment of Valor. I like Phyrexian Vindicator. And then I'm going to depopulate. Board wipe. My indestructible creature survives. We attack. 4 points, thanks to Double Strike. Now they could kill it if they have a removal spell. There we go. And that means they're going to put out Virtue of Persistence next, which is what Sanctify is for. So as long as they don't have another one of these irritating bats, we'll be okay. They know I have this. Let's show it to them. Now I have hexproof, and the bats don't work on me. Look at target opponent's hand. You can't target the opponent anymore. They think they've won. What they don't know is that I can do this. And I can do this. And I can do this. Well, they knew I could do some of that. So we do have some other mechanics, right? We've got Flying and Vigilance for the Metropolis Reformer. I didn't rule those out. They finally get the bat when I've unloaded my hand and have X-proof, so the bat's useless. Gross. They top deck the board wipe for themselves. Let's get rid of anything that's power 3 or greater, shall we? Boom. Finally got him back down to 20. Are they just going to kill me with desert lands from now on and hit me for a point of damage each turn? No, you can't target me. So, just a little tip. One of the reasons I like Metropolis Reformer, with this new expansion of Thunder Junction, the Lush Oasis, and all of the damage-dealing lands, they don't do any good. Just so you know. It's a little tip from your Uncle Larry. Let's go ahead and discover. We'll just put that in our hand. In case they have another Virtue of Persistence. Moment of Valor is excellent. It doesn't stop a Virtue of Persistence. That'll just be a -3/-3 here. What target card are they going to take back? Sludge Monster. Okay. It's fine they don't know we have Moment of Valor. They play it. Fine. Lose it. Easy come, easy go. The counter's there if they ever get back. This is a sorcery, so I guess I just use it now. Target a player. Boom. Now I'm a 3/4 with Vigilance, so I can attack and Rusting can't attack me. Keys of the Hellraiser. What's the ward cost on this? I have to pay 2 and pay 2 life. Okay. We're sure. Resolve. Auto pay. Go down to 13. Still get to attack for 3. And opponent still can't attack. Reduce the top decking to survive. Bristly Bill, which needs lands. Notice my opponent hasn't been drawing any lands. Now that they have Bristly Bill, they will get lands. That's what Arena does. Vanquish the Horde, not yet. We could do the Indestructible board wipe again, though. But we're not going to. It's not a land. Okay, now they can't use the -2 because I have hexproof.
Shadows like me.
They can make me discard a card, which is troublesome. Because I need both cards to do the board wipe. Yeah, they're learning. They're trying to make me sacrifice a creature. In order to do that, you need to be able to target the player. This works because it's each player. I actually disagree with this. This is a non-targeted effect. It works against commander. So it's not just me that it's targeting every single player. And that's where they get around the hexproof. Let me go ahead and get rid of Vanquish the Horde. We will go ahead and attack the Planeswalker. It can't block. And it doesn't have any counters on it yet.
You know, I think you look better as a corpse.
We'll keep the Inspector around for discard. Look, did I mention they were going to start getting lands now that they have a landfall target? What a coincidence. We stick it there, it's fine. Again, we go ahead and take care of that
won't
puppy.
Be outsmarting me.
Nice. We're going to let that through. Ooh, look at that. Oh, wait. If I do this... I don't have enough, right? I've got 7 lands. Okay, so I'm just going to kill everybody. Including my hexproof creature. But at least I've got 5 1/1s now. They top deck a creature. How about that? Not another land. The land comes next. Let's make it hexproof and indestructible, shall we? Yeah, that's a good card. Now the problem is they've got so much land out. If they get a single counter and then they can just pay to double it a couple times. Yeah, they can't quite kill me, right? I've got 1 more turn left. They destroy their own creature. Good game. Alright, that was getting kind of close. Okay, let's take a break from that for a second. Just because I want to go ahead and show you what the arena announcement is. This came out today. After the controversy, MTG Arena Matchmaking and You. In case you were out of the loop, there was a Reddit post where somebody tried to play a deck they normally play in Commander, and they received an error and they were told you can't play this deck. And that was news to them because they had played it before. But it turns out they were able to look into the log file, and what we think is their commander was issued a negative score. And so because they had so many lands in their deck and so few other cards, their deck basically was below 0 for a score. And Arena wouldn't let them play the deck. So here they admit a couple of weeks ago we shipped a bug on MTG Arena. If you haven't seen Amazonian's post, the Amazonian did, I think it was like between 45 minutes to an hour just talking about this and what we speculated and that kind of thing. If you haven't watched Amazonian's channel, she's got a good channel where she just does a lot of Commander Brawl. Really worthwhile watching. Anyway, so they're going to go ahead and try and fix things, right? So they're going to do a little discussion. They say the matchmaking we're discussing only applies to best of one play queues and does not apply to ranked play, best of play, premier events, or events that have win-loss targets. And second, we're not going to share specific matchmaking details. Now, this is kind of, if you don't know the history of Magic the Gathering, the original purpose of the game was to sort of have this lack of knowledge about all the cards in the set. It debuted in 93, which is before we really had the internet. There was, just like bulletin boards basically at the time. And so you didn't know all the cards. Wizards of the Coast did not give you a listing of all the cards. There were some gaming magazines that would go out and buy up a whole box and open a box, and they'd list all the cards that they got. So there were ways to find out about cards that you didn't know about. But it was a game of exploration. It was a game that went beyond the box that you bought. Other than the deck of cards that you had, the only way you would find out what other cards were in existence were meeting another player across the board and playing against their deck and marveling at the new cards that they have that you didn't, which was fine for the few years that that situation existed. The internet really changed the nature of the beast, and suddenly information was everywhere. And now they publish deck lists, entire deck lists, ahead of time. They have adapted. However, they think that withdrawing certain information is better. They say when players have full transparency in how the system works, it's easier for certain players to exploit this information to create imbalanced matchups. I think I'm forced to agree with them on that, but it is a little bit different than most other mobile games that I'm used to playing, and a lot of PC games. If you look at things like StarCraft, Starfleet, Star Trek Fleet Command, all these different games, City of Heroes, we used to have access to all the, dots per second, all the calculations, all the algorithms, and we could actually work out how to min-max our characters. And you could go dig in for example, on Star Trek Fleet Command, you could go look at the battle log and you could see how your Enterprise crew members and that kind of thing who you manned the ships with were affecting your battles and how effective their particular traits were. So you could try and figure out what's the best crew for going against PvP versus going against a computer player, that type of thing. And most companies have embraced this idea of allowing us to peek behind the curtain, to look at those things, to crunch those numbers. And we tried to do a little bit of it here. We didn't have full information, and we still don't. But so when they say when players have full transparency, there's a lot that they do in their arena matchmaking that they haven't told us yet. So this was only one aspect that, because they didn't think through on how it was going to be affected on arena, the cat's sort of out of the bag. But their goal is fair matchmaking. Okay, fine. Okay, so for their discussion is talking about Brawl and Standard Brawl. It looks at your commander and your deck, evaluates the combined power level with an emphasis on the commander, and tries to match you against decks of similar power level. And it does crank it up if it takes too long to find a good match. The system periodically increases the acceptable power level discrepancies until you are paired. That's fine. Two things to point out. New cards will need play data before they're integrated. When making changes, we're going to prioritize statistical outliers or the most popular cards for adjustment. Okay, also fine. Don't have a problem with that. Okay, beyond the relative power of the commander and the cards in a player's deck, we incorporate player skill as part of our matchmaking and further service to finding fun and compelling matches for players. While it can be fun to win convincingly, we don't want to regularly pit newer players who are learning the ropes against seasoned veterans with advanced skill sets and create situations where these outcomes are much more likely. So combining deck power and skill helps prevent that while still allowing for these players to occasionally battle. I have a problem with this. It's all too it's all too small that happens. It should be a little bit more random than that. The way, I don't know how they incorporate player skill, but I played Magic back in around 94, played it for several years. When I found Arena Online, I was immediately paired into Hail Queue whenever I went into Ranked. And it was immediate. And I thought it was just because I didn't spend any money. But it's even happened recently, just a couple of days ago. And this is a common thing. I've recorded it for the last 3 years that I've been putting out YouTube videos, where I will switch from standard play into ranked play, and all of a sudden I only get dealt one land. And I'm forced to mulligan or just make do with one land, which I do half the time anyway. But I thought maybe it was over and they were done doing that to me. But 2 nights ago they did it to me again. I switched to ranked. I took in a regular white deck, mono white deck that I like right now. And the entire month before in standard, whenever I use that deck, I'd always gotten the standard 2 lands, or sometimes 3 or 4 in my opening hand. As soon as I switch to rank, I get 1 land. That has happened to me too many times, the very first time that I go into ranked, to be a coincidence. So I don't know if this is part of their algorithm in saying I'm too skillful to be allowed a fair chance in the opening draw, because the whole point of their hand smoothing algorithm was to reduce the percentage of getting a single land in your draw, in your opening draw. They went through the whole percentages when you play Magic in real time, in real life, across from an opponent, and they looked at the percentage of chances you'll get 1 land in your deck in opening hand, 2 lands, 3 lands, so on. And they created their algorithm to smooth it out, to decrease the percentage chance that you would get an opening hand with only 1 land. I am always getting 1 land in my opening hand whenever I switch over to a ranked battle. It is disgusting, it is unfair, and if it's part of how they incorporate player skill as how they do their matchmaking, it's disgusting. Now, the way that they're doing their matchmaking here, they said it's not going to apply to ranked. What I'm saying is they do apply a different algorithm for matchmaking in ranked, and it's unfair. It's not fair to me, I'll tell you that right now. The number of times that I've started in regular play with only 1 land, I can't even remember the last time in regular play it happened. Ranked play happens all the time. It's disgusting. They have different algorithms for standard play and ranked play, and they admit that here because they tell you that when they do the matchmaking here, it's going to apply to Brawl and Standard Brawl and Best of 1 play queues. Does not apply to ranked play. Ranked play, they apply some different algorithm. And it really disadvantages me. I've noticed that. I've published the videos. There's an entire playlist on my YouTube channel called Why I Do Not Play Ranked, and you can see it happening. Anyway, moving forward, you can expect a few things. First, we're going to fix the issue that gave the players too much information. Again, against the flow of nearly every other game that's modern, that's being published in this day and age, when we've gone through the age where Hollywood published these DVDs with behind the scenes to show you how they did the special effects. They found out that every time they open up the behind the scenes and show us how the sausage is made, we fans, we soak it up, we love it, maybe we make use of it. But I don't believe they gave us too much information. I think having insight into how they determine those things was useful for us. Okay. We'll make changes to our power ratings based on play patterns over the next few weeks. Our goal is for players to have fun. Okay, so when I go into ranked, stop giving me only 1 land. Engaging matches that appropriately test their skill level. Stop land starving me in standard play. My opponents are always making their land drops. I'm not. It doesn't matter if I have 24 lands, 25 lands, 36 lands. I've made decks that are overpowered with lands. I still have problems. I famously made a video with a green deck where I had extra lands and mana dorks, and I had about 12 creatures, 4 blocks, 4 blocks each, where they could each tap for either green or any color mana. And I would have entire matches where I would not get any one of those 12 creatures in the opening hand. And I would not draw them. I had a deck that was overstacked with land and had extra mana dorks that only cost 1 or 2 mana to bring down, and I got mana starved. It is disgusting the way Arena treats me. It treats me differently than it treats the average player. If you are being treated like this at all, I would like to know if there's anyone else out there like me that gets mana starved half as much, and that only gets one land every time they go into ranked. I would really be interested to know that I'm not alone in this at this point in time. Okay, what else do they say? We're not going to provide explicit timelines or windows in which it will happen because it creates windows opportunities for players to try and circumvent the system, and blah, 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 blah. And so that's about it. So that is the current state of the industry today. Wizards of the Coast did not fully learn, or they have forgotten, the lesson of the debut of the internet and the evolution of gaming over the last 20 years, and they think they gave us too much information as players. I assure you, they have not. They have withheld a lot of information about how things work. And they change things often without telling us. They say it's to create more fun battles. My battles have not become more fun over time. They just haven't. Let's put out the armadillo first. I prefer to have a fourth land so that I can go ahead and do some other stuff. But this doesn't make anything indestructible. I have trouble putting out... This is a workhorse, so I only have 4 copies. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and get rid of that. I want to see if I can wait and get one of my support cards. I do have a lot of support cards. Remember, I only have 9 creatures. Now I'm down to 8. Our opponent looks like they're removal heavy. Opponent does not miss a land drop. Painful Quandary. How about that? Let's get rid of an expensive board wipe. So we may not even have a lot of creature decks. They may just have 4 copies of Painful Quandary. I don't have 4 ways to remove enchantments in this deck. I have maybe 2? There's another card that destroys enchantments, right? It's only 2. But then I wouldn't be able to use this for Indestructible. I have what I need now. Destroy all creatures. They're going to exile the Spree card. I think I only have 1 copy of that, right? So they do get to look at my deck, which will give them a lot of information, and possibly a good way to play around it. Yeah, just the 1 copy of the card, so they may feel a little cheated. But it is interesting. They can see exactly what's in my hand, so they know I can make this card indestructible anytime I want. Are you going to do anything at all? Anything at all? Anything. Full information. I'm just going to attack. Anything at all. Anything, opponent. You have 7 cards. Exiles a creature they control with greatest amount of value. Notice it's an exile. Arena has already put their matchmaking to work. I don't have a way to defend against this. I don't have myself hexproof yet, because I got the wrong card out. So, It just so happens that Arena chose an opponent who, among the removal, is top decked the one card that defeats all of my counters. That defeats my entire deck. Also, they managed to, before anything else, go through my entire deck and see what I could do. Real fun. I think we're fine. I think we'll just stay here. I don't have a creature, so I just decline, and I don't have to discard a card even from that. They are real heavy in terms of enchantments, sorceries for board wipes, instant removals. They don't have regular creatures. We pass. We're just waiting for another creature and enough land. They can ping us for 1 point of damage each time. I'm fine with that. Oh, look at that. Do we want to try it? We can make it indestructible. Let's see if they have 4 copies of Blot Out or not. We'll just start discarding cards. Discard a card. Let's discard White Sun's Twilight. They know we have it. We'll just get rid of it. They have 7 cards again. Is one of them Blot Out that I can't defend against? I have 3 different spells. Well, 3 of the same spells and 1 different spell. I can only cast the 2 drops right now. Oh, look at that! Making it indestructible does no good against this type of removal either, because my opponent's able to target me. So they have magically come up with the 1 card that works against me. Isn't that interesting? Well, let's go ahead and destroy this creature. Isn't it interesting that Arena's matchmaking, which we know they've had a problem with, Arena's matchmaking has used 2 removal cards from black, which Indestructible doesn't work well against. Just pointing that out for the record. Just a curious kind of thing. Arena has decided that for standard one-on-one plays, I am so skillful, this is fun for them. It's fun for me. It's fun and compelling for me to automatically be pitted against my kryptonite for the entire deck configuration. That Arena scoured and found a deck that has these 2 types of cards to go against me. Sure, let's just get rid of these. I'm a reactionary deck, so it's pitting me against another reactionary deck. It knows the other 2 cards I have. It might just make me discard them. 7 cards not doing a single thing to me. Very interesting. We will continue to pass. I need one of my protective spells. Not that I expect it to work, right? Because we have this. If I do get my my creature out that gives me hexproof, neither of those will work. Notice we're discarding again. They have top decked the discard spells. Exactly what they need when they need it. Seven cards in their hand still. Let's see, they've got 2 different discard spells already. Most of the discard decks, they play those up front. Alright, we're going to try this again. Opponent still manages to have 7 cards in their hand. Long Goodbye can't be countered. Okay, but we can make it indestructible. Whatever the card I'm going to draw is going to be discarded. It's just a land. Do they have a second removal card? They should. They've got 6 more cards and 5 open mana. Yep. Notice 2 different kinds of removal cards. Very cheap. Cheap, cheap. So when I didn't have a way to save it, or actually when I did, they had ways that I couldn't counter. And when I did have a way to save it, they still had ways to kill it extra. They had extra ways to kill it. How convenient. Everything that they need every single turn, no matter what. This is very compelling gameplay, I must say. Mostly I'm just drawing and passing my turn. Artifact or creature? I'm going to give that Indestructible to my artifact. Ooh, I get another creature. Sweet. Too bad Indestructible doesn't help this because I have to exile it. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do this. Let's put a creature down. Why not? I know they'll kill it. That's fine. Yet another type of removal. Pass the turn. Opponent just stores up their cards, doesn't do anything. We will destroy that creature. How many of those have we gone through? Okay, we can make a creature indestructible. Woohoo! Let's go! It's the final showdown. Against 6 more cards, probably at least 2 of which are removal. Because remember, they've used Murder, they've used Long Goodbye, they've used Go for the Throat, they've used Sheoldred's Edict, and they've used Blot Out. So if they have 4 copies of each, that's at least 20 removal cards in their deck. They didn't kill it. Why not? All creatures get -2/-2. Yet another removal spell that doesn't save me. I can't save it because it's a //- spell. And it gets exiled. What a coincidence that their third form of removal is yet another one, even when I have the Indestructible mechanic in hand. Arena just managed to let them top deck the one card that would make sure that it dies no matter what. What a coincidence. Their matchmaking is so fun and compelling. So fun and compelling. I'm just going to hold on to my lands now in case there are more discard spells, so I can throw away my useless lands. Yes, I'm auto-passing every turn. Very fun and compelling play for me. Magic has basically matched me up against a deck that has no creatures, for the most part. Okay, I'm ready for your discard spells now. Second Painful Quandary. Hey, I gained life off of that spell. That worked out great. Next time he puts them down, I'll just use Urza Silex. Hidden Courtyard. Yeah, we'll put Hidden Courtyard down. How many cards you got? 28 versus my 25. How many creatures have I lost? What are the odds they'll put down 8 creatures or so? Metropolis Reformer? I could give that Indestructible. Deal. Now the discard spells won't work. Blot Out won't work. Sheoldred's Edict won't work. As long as they don't have 2 different removal spells in the same turn that do work on specifically targeting the creature, I'll be fine. They've got 8 cards. I have half a chance finally. They've been trying to hoard their lands. Silex is going to destroy lands. Yeah, we'll just play that. Our creature is still on the board. We're going to attack. Do we get him down to 20? We do. Do they have a bunch of Blotouts and Sheoldred's Edicts in their hand? I'm going to discard a card. Ta-da! It's lovely. A Gunge is a nice card to hold on to. I think my next card I'll get rid of is Vanquish the Horde. Gains Indestructible! They only have 1 removal card? They have 7 more cards in their hand! What is going on? This is inconceivable! And I have seen The Princess Bride, so I do know what that word means. I'm hurting my opponent, finally. I think we finally reached the fun and compelling part of the play. It's magic. They've been hoarding their lands because of the Silex, most likely. Bam! Eight cards in hand. 4 damage to you. We've basically got just 20 cards left to go. They have a way to destroy the artifact. Can I? No, that's creatures only. Alright, so I lose the Silex. I should have probably kept that on the creature. I didn't realize they were paying for both of that and doing both of those. I messed up, so that's my misplay. They played the spree. They did things to both. Now their discard stuff works. Congratulations. You get to keep all of your lands. See what else we got going on. Done. We put 1 in our hand. They get to see what it is. What's left? 2 Virtuosos gone there. My Reformer's gone. Sunscribe is gone. Vindicator's gone. I have 2 more Virtuosos, I think, in the deck. 17 more cards. Let's see what happens. I'm drawing through my deck faster than they are. I don't know that I have a way to save. Oh, hello. How much is that? 9? Now, they had one board wipe at the very beginning. Do they have another? They have the Malicious Eclipse ready. They had it ready. And Painful Quandary. Have they been waiting for just that moment? Alright, I wanted to draw another land. Do they actually have 4 of these in the deck? When is the last time you saw somebody main deck 4 copies of Malicious Eclipse? Okay, let's put out Novice Inspector. We're going to resolve all. We're going to get rid of Depopulate. We can make this indestructible. Or we can just have them use Sheoldred's Edict, which now works on us because we don't have our Reformer. Okay, fine. Let's do this. $17 cards to my 9. I've got to get on the stick soon if I'm going to have a hope to win this, or I'm just going to mill myself. In Courtyard. They probably have another Malicious Eclipse. But, what the heck. Let me gain some life. Oh, sorry, what am I? 5? Oh, it's got to be 5. Okay. 5's all I need. Maybe I should have discarded the planes, but who cares? If they have Malicious Intent, do they have it in the hand? Yes, they do. 3rd copy. Just enough. Just enough to defeat every single thing that I want to do. Coincidentally, just the right amount. Let's put that on the field. We're casting that. We're resolving this. I don't mind losing 5 life at this point. I don't mind losing 5 life at this point. What are they? They used to cut down and to go for the throat? Three spells this turn. I don't mind losing 5 life at this point. I do have one more Lauren's Escape, but I've used all of my energy. They have a 3rd one. Why didn't they just use Sheoldred's Edict up front? I couldn't have avoided that one. How many destruction cards, how many removal cards is that? Do I want to draw more? Here, let me get rid of that. How many removal cards is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and maybe 14 more? I don't know. Some of these have to be lands, right? Did we lose any lands in here at all? Or do you only have 16 lands in your deck and the rest is 2 mana, 1 mana spells? I wonder how long they had that card. Now that all my board wipes are gone, finally. They've been very patient. I have 3 cards left. I thought I had one more Virtuoso in the deck. Is it going to be like the bottom card? I'm not going to have a chance to kill the opponent? Seriously. What is my final card? I could have crafted that with an artifact. No, that wasn't a good game. Because Arena matched you against me specifically to defeat me. Because you had every conceivable removal card in existence. That's how Arena matchmaking takes care of me. We incorporate player skill as part of our matchmaking and in further service to finding fun and compelling matches. In an environment where there has been nothing but green-white Selesnya swarms and mono-red aggro for the last month against me, as soon as I made my Indestructible deck, they put me into a different queue. Red and blue black again. No green white. No mono red aggro. Can we do anything against that? I don't even think we can do anything against that. We just have to pass. There goes one of my creatures. 2 creatures. I had 4 of my 9 creatures up top. What are the odds? Do they get to keep my cards all the time? Until end of turn. Okay. So I can't attack. I can't use Iganjo because it's got my Lauren's Escape. Oh, wait. Now I can do it. Fizzles the spell. Let's do this. Give myself hexproof. Give them 2 targets for the removal. They can put down a 3/3. I've got my ways to destroy artifacts and enchantments. Get rid of the Reformer. Okay. Gain 3 life. Notice the opponent did not miss a land drop. Still didn't miss a land drop. Taking my cards to beat me. Still not satisfied with what they got. I'm keeping that. That makes a creature indestructible. My problem is they might have stolen one of my board wipes. So I'm being rather aggressive by putting my only 2 creatures on the ground right now. I can only protect one of them with Indestructible. Oh, look! Opponent didn't miss a land drop. Yet again. How about that? Casting 2 spells a turn. That's great. I guess we discard this one. It's a sorcery. We can't stop Gix if he tries to attack by himself. We don't have to worry about Cavernous Souls because we don't have counter spells. Notice opponent didn't miss their land drop. We're going to need 7 if we want to do a good White Sun's Twilight at some point. Reveal your hand. Destroy creature, toughness 4 or greater. You can have my White Sun's Twilight, I guess. Oh, no, it's not a creature or planeswalker card. I'm so sorry. Do we just use this now? Yeah, and I've already run through all my cards that help me get rid of artifacts or enchantments, so this is pretty much guaranteed to beat me. That's my board wipe. Yet again, they're rating my cards to beat me. Fun and compelling match play. Taking all of my stuff. Thank you, Arena. There goes all of my illuminating virtuosos. This looks like my deck. They're using Corvold, they're using Kortos, they're using Siphon Insight. All we need is Decadent Dragon, and that's mostly my deck. Alright, let's get rid of the 4/4. We do get to attack for 1 point of damage. Woohoo! They can just cast Virtue Persistence and get a whole bunch of things back. I don't know why they're waiting on that. I need 1 untapped land. Arena's not going to give it to me. Opponent got 7 lands. That's all they need to take care of everything they want. They're going to exile the top 3 cards. Which was probably all my lands. Look. Land and land in a board wipe. Those both would have been untapped lands. Thank you for teasing me, Arena. Finally. Board wipe. Give me 5 1/1s. I still fully expect to die. They can bring back awesome target creatures. They can't bring back the Virtuoso they exiled for. They're probably looking to see... They could get a Novice Inspector. They could get the Metropolis Reformer. Which is a problem. I have nothing to discard. Sure. They go digging because they still got problems. Why don't they bring back things like Karavik from their own? Oh, that's my card. So I'm basically just being beat with my own deck at this point. We don't care about the life they gain. We want to do poison now. Put in hand. Play that. Attack, try and give him 4 more poison. Okay, if they bring back 1 creature and don't put another one down, and they can't remove any of my 4, I've got them beat on poison. The problem is they're going to exile one of my board wipes. So as close as Arena lets me get. They made sure to use my own deck against me every single turn. Four board wipes removed. I didn't mean to do that. That was a misplay. I meant to put that in hand. I didn't think it would let me cast that. I'm just going to quit because it was rigged against me anyway, but I can't get back. Oh, there is Decadent Dragon. So, yeah, that was basically my deck. They had maybe 1 card in there I didn't have. Yeah, I got beat by my own deck. Using my own deck. Using my current deck against me, my old deck beat me. MTG PvP. Can we go up against any normal deck for a change? Okay. The PvP, the person with specifically PvP in their name quits on the first round. Okay. Well, that's because Arena's been throwing me around back and forth like a rag doll for the past couple of matches. What did we say that they were going to do? We incorporate player skill as part of our matchmaking in further service to finding fun and compelling matches. That last match, where they surrendered on turn 1, very fun, very compelling. Love it when they do that for me. It's such fun. They have a way to take care of my Silex already. We have double strike, but they have open mana, which means they probably have some extra spell they could cast. Oh, look, Roaring Earth. On curve landfall card. Disgusting. And opponent will not miss a land drop. Ta-da! That's okay. We'll use a Valorous Stance on it later. Again, most important thing is really for me to get lands. I want to put something like Reformer down, but I don't want to put it down naked, so to speak. I want to put it down where I have extra mana to protect it in the same turn. They're tapped out. People usually hang on to that card for a lot longer. So they didn't make their land drop, so they made sure they got a mana dork at just the right time so that they could ramp. Say goodnight, Gracie. Now we just use Lauren's Escape on whatever they try and kill. Didn't even bother to do the monster token. Doesn't have haste. Okay, we'll bite. What pump spell do you have? That's where the monster roll comes in. Hexproof and Indestructible. Sure, we'll take the land. Why not? Gain the life. Play the land. Get rid of you. Put down the Silex. Attack. We've done what we can. They're going to get this creature out. It'll have a 4/4. But it doesn't have reach. And we do have a ton of board wipes. So any one of the 9 board wipes would come in handy. Of course. Okay. They could bring that down too, right? 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. I'm gonna be nearly dead. I'm just hoping they bring down the Werefox. I'm gonna take a very big hit here just to try and get them all in one nice big board wipe. Okay, that was the MacGuffin. No, I didn't want to do that. Oh well. Maybe I shuffled the deck. They didn't bring down the Werefox. 9, 16, 21. So I guess I do have to block. I probably did all that wrong. Always have the land drop to pump it up, don't they? Nice. I guess the question is, can they top deck creatures now? They got a ton of land ramp. I don't really have... let's see. Yeah, they exiled that. Exiled target non-creature artifact. So they didn't destroy my artifact, they managed to exile it. Yet another way, Arena found a card that we actually don't normally come up against Haywire Might that often. I do sometimes, but not that often. Oh, they do have a way to get a creature out. How about that? What a coincidence. They top deck a way to get just the most awesome creature out. Just one of the most awesome creatures. Okay. I lose mine too. And after all of those land drops, I've been using my specialty lands so much, I'm still at 6 lands after all this time. That was not something we were going to be able to use most likely anyway, so I'm okay with that. Okay, make sure I don't actually click on whatever this is and activate it unless it's a creature. It's a creature, I'll take it. We've got 1 mana open for Lorn's Escape, if we need to. So the clock has started again. They've got 4 more turns to do something. They've gone through about half their deck. They're a little bit ahead of us. We can destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. As an instant. Argoth, so they can create creatures every single turn. Yeah, no. Interesting top deck. Very useful. Excellent. 3 turns. Our deck's working the way it's supposed to. Against another deck that actually had a bunch of creatures for a change. Haywire Might will give it some life. Play the land, please. Play the land. Play the land and pump it up. Oh, please. Play the land and pump it up. Oh, they're not playing the land. Do they know what I have? Guess what? Yeah, you really don't have a choice. Are they going to sacrifice that and gain 2 life by getting rid of their own Ozolith? Double Strike's going to kill the Haywire Might. Up to 2 creatures you control. I did that wrong. I was supposed to use that on my own creature. Play the land. They're not playing the land. Well then, I may lose this just to my own misplay again. Alright, half my deck has gone through. Thankfully, they keep increasing the value of the cards for the strength and toughness. Very helpful for me. Okay, I should have good odds of getting another creature soon. What is this final card they've been holding on to the whole time? I have a creature. I can make it indestructible. We're back through a 3-turn clock. More ramping. They've already gone through most of their deck. They're still getting more of their lands out faster than I am. That's fine. Oh, yes, we'll take another creature. Yes, please. 2 turns. They bring Argoth back, even though I have Field of Ruin. They have Drannith runes. I don't think we care. They give up the ghost. They knew they weren't going to be able to do much against 2 creatures the next turn. A little bit closer than I liked. I've been busy being sarcastic and making fun of Wizards tonight rather than playing good gameplay, so at least a couple of misplays during a couple of those games. But in theory, the deck's kind of sound. There might be a... since I only have 9 creatures, you could go ahead and suggest another creature that I could put in this deck and maybe go up to 10 or 11 creatures and maybe reduce one of these spells a little bit. Maybe get rid of one of the White Sun's Twilight because it's so expensive. But then you saw if I hadn't discarded a couple of them, maybe I would have had more chance against that all-black removal deck. Because I think I managed to use like 3 of these, and they had Malicious Intent 3 times. So maybe the 4th one might have been good if I'd been able to not discard it. But yeah, definitely made some misplays tonight. And I could blame that on Wizards if I want. We incorporate player skill as part of our matchmaking in further service to finding fun and compelling matches for players. But the truth is I have a pounding headache, which I do not normally get. And it's extremely hard to concentrate. And hopefully, I'll do better next time. But the mechanic was Indestructible. Welcome to Evergreen Month. Go ahead and leave a comment on what you changed to the deck. Leave any questions that you have. And as always, we ask you to like and subscribe. And I'll try and do better next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.